It's a must win on Monday night. I don't got to tell you guys. You either win it or you pack this season in. Jeremy Burton is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. The Eagles pretty much got to win 5 of their last 6 games if they want to sniff the playoffs. What do you think? Is it possible? Am I crazy? Is this going to happen?
Oh, man. 2 teams on Monday night. Packers lost 4 in a row. Eagles, after the 3-0 start, lost 5 out of the last 7. I hope we can put the nail in Green Bay's coffin. And this is obviously a must-win game. We match up pretty well. Their defense is reeling for the Packers. I mean, giving up almost 45 points a game the last 2 weeks. Kirk Cousins looking like an all-pro against them last week. Rob Kelly running all over them. It's looking good. And, of course, we got the home cooking. We're undefeated at home. Must-win game, Monday night prime time, ESPN. Hopefully we shine.
Yeah, this Packers defense is really for sure. They've been riddled by injuries all season long. Their secondary is a complete mess right now. I'm not sure if Demarius Randall is coming back this week, but they've been without Sam Shields and Demarius Randall for most of the season. So they're relying on a bunch of young pups in the secondary. They've had some injuries to their inside linebackers, Blake Martinez, Jake Ryan. I think Clay Matthews might actually play in the inside this week because of these injuries. They haven't pressured the quarterback well. They were stopping the run earlier in the season, and now the last couple of weeks, not so much against DeMarco Murray, and Rob Kelly went off on them last week. Rob Kelly kind of went off on the Eagles too, which is funny. But, so it's a reeling Packers defense. Aaron Rodgers is starting to play a little bit better. 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his last 4 games. But, man, they're 4-6. Their backs are against the wall. That's what kind of scares me a little bit because this is kind of the time of the year when the Packers kind of make a run towards the postseason. But their running game is a mess. Their defense is a mess. They are vulnerable. This game is winnable. And the Eagles, they got to go get it. They got to go get it. Brandon Graham said the season is not over, and I don't think it is either. Let's go get it. Andy Reid's team, this is what they did at the end of the season. If Doug Peterson is Andy 2.0, he will win 5 of his last 6 games. It is doable. They got 4 fucking home games, 2 road games that are winnable. Cincinnati, you're telling me we can't beat them? Baltimore on the road? It is possible, ladies and gentlemen. It is possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is possible. Look at the way the Chiefs ended the season last year. What was it? A 10-game win streak? Yeah. I mean,
I'm not going to ask for a 6-game win streak.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask for that. But I mean, Doug Peterson's since his big mistakes earlier in the year, I think he's come around a little bit. I liked his play calling in the Seattle game. But what are you going to do? I mean, they were just a far superior team. I love the way the offensive line's been. Even with Big V out, Barber is admirable at the right tackle position. I love Wiz in the left guard. He's been filling in fine. By the time Big V comes back, actually, Lane Johnson will probably be ready after suspension. So he'll be plugged right back in there. They're just – and we match up so well, except, Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he is scary. But we should be able to match them in points. Like you said, their defense is a mess, but they've been one-dimensional. I mean, James Starks cannot run the ball. He averages like 2 yards a carry. They use a wide receiver as a running back half the time. So I think it's definitely a winnable game. Same story every week. Get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Don't let him make plays and extend plays and beat you. I think that'll help not exposing our secondary. So, we just gotta get at Rodgers and put up points. And like I said, we're back home. We're undefeated at home. That's huge. Primetime game. I think we can get it, man. I really do.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into Nelson Agholor talk. I'm really, really curious to see what Doug Peterson is going to do with his wide receivers this coming Monday night. Agholor, I mean, we know about the story by now. So you got to take a step back to take a step forward. And then today, Doug Peterson kind of, who the hell knows what the hell he's going to do? Because the way I interpreted Monday's press conference was that he was basically benching him. But if he benches him, then it's either going to be Paul Turner or Bryce Tregg starting. And as bad as Nelson Agholor has been, it's kind of a little bit scary considering these guys are undrafted rookies. Paul Turner basically doesn't have a lot of cohesion with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz missed a lot of the preseason too, if you remember. So, what kind of rapport do they really have? Bryce Treggs, what kind of rapport do they really have? Bryce Treggs can only really do one thing, and that's go deep. So we shall see. Agholor, I do think he's done in Philly. In terms of his mental makeup is so just fragile, and he's fucked. I don't think he can handle Philadelphia. I think he needs a fresh start somewhere. But like Doug Peterson said today, if he gets going, it's going to be against this Green Bay Packers defense because this secondary is not very good. And if you can't do anything against this secondary, then yeah, maybe you should go to another team.
Yeah, Agholor, he's out there. He's got feet for hands. He looks like an Oompa Loompa trying to catch a Willy Wonka bar. But this is the game. If he's going to have a good game, it's against this depleted secondary. And to boost his confidence, at first it seemed like earlier in the week that he was getting benched. Like point blank, we promoted Paul Turner to the active roster. And then today it's kind of like, oh, this is a big week for Nelson, blah, blah, blah. Like it kind of seemed like he's going to get him in there. I'd honestly be surprised if he's inactive. He might not be starting, but he's going to get some reps. I think he's going to get some reps, catchable balls, catchable routes, put him in the right position, get his confidence back. This is it. This is go big or go home. You're in the big leagues, pal. Like, I don't want any of this. Oh, I'm mentally lost. Like, you're a professional athlete. I won't stand for this. Nobody should stand for this. It's bullshit. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You're a first-round pick. You're getting paid first-round pick money. Step up, mind over matter, get your head right. Just go out there and do what you're supposed to do. You had a good career at USC. Just go out there and catch the fucking ball. It's your job. So put him in to run some easy routes, exploit matchups against this depleted secondary, get his confidence back up. If he has any shot to get his career back on track, this is the game. If not, then I'm done with him. This is the last straw for Agholor for me.
Well, a lot of people have already. There's no more straws for Nelson Agholor, and I'm on like an eighth of a straw. I'm giving him a little bit, and it's basically only because of Green Bay. I don't know, but I think what's going to happen again is Doug Peterson is once again going to hide the deficiencies at wide receiver. You look at the last 2 weeks. The tight ends and running backs have caught 30 balls, 17 of them against Atlanta, 17 of the 25 Carson Wentz completions against Atlanta went to tight ends and running backs. Last week it was 13 to 26, and that ratio was actually benefited from a couple garbage time stats from DGB. So it really wasn't 13 and 26. So it's funny because when they showed that stat of the 15 yards by wide receivers and Russell Wilson had 15, yes, it's pathetic, but at the same time, well, that just shows that Doug Peterson is utilizing his personnel correctly. Your tight ends are the strength of this team. Your wide receivers are not. Trey Burton had a lot more snaps playing out wide, so I really like seeing that. I almost would rather see Trey Burton start at wide receiver than Paul Turner, Bryce Treggs, or Nelson Agholor. I'd rather see that almost. That's when we talk about some of the things that we liked from Doug Peterson last week. This is what we're talking about. The last 2 weeks. This is what the Philadelphia Eagles are supposed to be. Ball control type of offense, utilizing the tight ends, utilizing the running backs, utilizing Darren Sproles, on the 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 5s with the option routes, running the football. Jason Kelce, I know you guys, you might be doubting him right now, but he has played really, really well the last couple of weeks. And he is a big reason why this offensive line has been really good at run blocking. 4.35 yards per carry last week against a Seattle defense that allows 3.5 yards per carry. So the run blocking is picking up steam. Doug Peterson's utilizing the tight ends more. There are some things that I'm liking. All right, so Doug Peterson right now, instead of costing the Eagles games, he's actually helping them now. So we shall see what happens on Monday night.
Yeah, strategic. zone run blocking schemes, utilizing the offensive linemen to their strengths. And, we average almost a yard more per carry against Seattle's average. That's really good. Like I said, I liked his game plan. It's just we were not good enough to beat Seattle in Seattle. I mean, we all kind of, that was kind of glaring. But, I think we can really take advantage of this Packers run defense and, bring up the running backs. Ryan Matthews has a sprained MCL. Darren Sproles a little cracked rib, apparently in a safe area, whatever that means.
That
I mean, okay, it's not going to pierce an organ, I guess. So he's going to be out there, and he said Doug Pearson said today that there's a better chance that Sproles is active than Ryan Matthews. Sounds like Ryan Matthews might miss this game. So, Wendell Smallwood's had a nice last 2 weeks. Last week against Seattle, I think he had 40-plus yards on the ground and 30-plus yards through the air. So, these are things you got to utilize. Smallwood and Sproles out of the backfield. Tight end, get the tight ends involved, all three of them. Whatever you got to do, exploit your matchups. This is what's working for us. That's our strengths. That's how you got to build the offense. We don't have good wide receivers. We have a decent slot receiver in Jordan Matthews, and he's our best receiver. He's a number 2 on a maybe a 3 on a good team. So it's a need we're gonna have to address in the coming off seasons, obviously. But you play with the hand you're dealt, and use the running backs, tight ends. I think Doug is going to game plan right against the Seattle defense, who is very, very vulnerable in many aspects, and get this win on Monday night.
I think it'll be a lot similar to what the Atlanta game was. Again, I was talking about 17 of the 25 receptions went to running backs and tight ends, and 6 of the receptions from the wide receivers came from Jordan Matthews. The other 2 were from DGB. So I can kind of see a similar type of situation here where Jordan Matthews gets a lot of the receptions. Maybe DGB, you sprinkle in 1 or 2 for him. And then if you can get anything from that trio of Bryce Treggs, Paul Turner, Nelson Agholor, that's almost a plus at this point. So, I know that's like one of the main storylines coming in, and we talked about it to kick off the show basically. But, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's an overrated storyline because there's ways to game plan around it. So that's the way kind of I feel. So we shall see.
Yeah, exactly. That's the game plan we got to do. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers does scare me a little bit this time of year. He knows his back's against the wall. I bet he probably puts up numbers. It's just I think we have the firepower. I mean, we'll have great firepower, but against this defense, I think we can match them. I mean, I don't think Jordy Nelson still doesn't seem like the Jordy Nelson of old. I think we with our safeties, especially helping out the corners and the rush we've been getting with our front seven, I love it. I think Jim Schwartz is chomping at the bit to get Aaron Rodgers on his back.
Yeah, we'll see though, because Aaron Rodgers really scares me because of how quick he gets rid of the ball. So that's the scary thought coming in. I've had this stat before. I'll spew it again. The Eagles average 3.8 sacks at home compared to, I don't know if it's still 2 on the road. I haven't checked at the updated stats. But as you can see, they average twice as many sacks at home as they do on the road. So they're back at home. Hopefully the defensive line can really get after the quarterback, really get after Aaron Rodgers. Because the secondary, the cornerbacks are kind of a mess a little bit. They do play better at home than they do on the road, so that's a plus. But again, we shall see. Jalen Mills, after I proclaimed him to be the best cornerback on the team last week, he goes out and plays like shit. He was terrible last week. So it's every cornerback on this team has a big question mark. Leotis McKelvin has given up a lot of big plays on the deep ball. Nolan Carroll cannot tackle. And then Jalen Mills, I mean, he kind of does a little bit of everything wrong, I guess. I don't know. He wags his finger too much. He can't tackle either. So everybody has their weakness. I think Mills still might be the best out of the 3, which is crazy. But yeah, it's slim pickings. They should have kept Eric Rowe. And Eric Rowe, every goddamn time I see him on the field in New England, he's making a play. And it pisses me off because he was the best quarterback on this team and he got traded. Stupid. Fuck you, Howie.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, Bill Belichick, anyone who goes to Bill Belichick, he'll use them. Took Patrick Chung and made him a viable safety, So.
You know what's going to happen? Nelson Agholor is going to be next. There's going to be a swap of 7th-round pick. Agholor is going to go over 1,000 yards in New England next year.
Oh my God! Don't even say that. You talk about the corners. I just read that McKelvin didn't practice today. I think he's still in the concussion protocol.
Right. Yeah, he's got a concussion. Yep.
So at least he has longer to get ready until Monday. But he did lay a big hit on Sunday, and that was the play that took him out. So he goes out. You're left with Carroll and Mills, as our top two, and it's not good because they have 3 viable wide receivers: Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. You saw they sprinkled in Jared Cook, the tight end, last week. I think he went about for 100 yards. So one of them was a one long play, but Green Bay has weapons on offense, but you're not scared of the running game. You can protect against the pass and not really worry about stacking the box. You can rush 4 or 5 and put everyone else back. We've been generating pass rush with just 4 guys.
Yeah.
Like you said, we average almost 4 sacks a game at home compared to the lesser number on the road, like half as many sacks. So, we hope we keep that trend going, get Aaron Rodgers on his back, and not let these wide receivers beat our corners. That's the matchup they have to exploit, and we know the matchup we have to exploit. With our running game and against their secondary. So I see kind of a higher scoring game. So we'll see. Yeah, Rodgers definitely is scary, but we have matchups to exploit as well.
Yeah, and I think what helps is that the fact that they don't have a running game because Atlanta, because Green Bay in terms of how they're built, a lot like Atlanta because the defense is suspect. But the difference between Atlanta and Green Bay is Atlanta has Devontae Freeman, and Green Bay doesn't. Green Bay has got a shit running attack. So if you're the Eagles, you can really pin back and get after the quarterback. You don't really have to worry about the running game as much because, they don't really have a running game. So they're it's a one-dimensional offense. You can play around Aaron Rodgers, game plan around him pretty much. So I see that as a plus.
Yeah, exactly. They're, like we said, they're one-dimensional. James Starks is just a guy. He's more – if he hasn't – he has 2 receiving touchdowns in the past couple of weeks. If he didn't have those, his numbers would be a joke. He's got those touchdowns to pad his stats. But other than that, he's got very, very mediocre numbers, averaging about 2.5 yards a carry, maybe between 2 and 3 yards a carry somewhere. He's just a guy. And then they mix in Ty Montgomery. We'll see if they finally sprinkle in Christine Michael. He wasn't active last week, but they did sign him off waivers from Seattle. He's more of a physical runner. He would, be more of an in-between the tackles guy, whereas James Starks is just he's best used receiving out of the backfield. So that would be a problem more of a problem running the game for the running game. Us playing against their rushing attack if they had Michael active because he's more physical. But we have a pretty stout front seven. I'm not real worried. They are a one-trick, one-dimensional offense. So you just gotta not let Aaron Rodgers beat you. That's the key.
Yeah. This might be a shorter show than most because I don't really. There's not much to preview. I don't think it's kind of the same shit every week. So let's see. I don't even know what else to talk about. We only went for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Just got to get this win, man. It's a must win.
Yeah. I believe the stat I saw of the Green Bay defense, first time since 1953 They've given up 30+ points in 4 straight games. So, like, I mean, I don't know if the Eagles could score 30 points. I guess they can, but if they're going to play that ball control type of offense where they limit possessions, I don't know if they can get to 30. But I mean, that's obviously, a positive, obviously in our favor. The fact that they've just been so bad defensively. Coming into that Dallas game, they were the #1 rushing defense in the NFL, and ever since they've gone to shit. They really have.
Yeah, I mean, we got to hope for a high-scoring game. I think, Rodgers will throw together, a few touchdowns, but we'll also, I think, score close to 30. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking the same way. And the line is 4, so it's not like a 3-point line, it's a 4-point line. So the Eagles, it's not even an even line. The Eagles are pretty much favored by a point because it's 3 points for home, basically being at home. So the Vegas line, I think it's favorable for the Eagles. I think they should be able to win this game. I guess we'll do predictions. So Eagles win. What's your score going to be?
Yeah, I'm putting us right up there around something like a 31-24 kind of game. I think they'll get 3 touchdowns, and we'll get 4 touchdowns and then throw a field goal or 2 in.
Yeah, it's funny. I had the same exact score, 31-24. So that's funny.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. So actually, what we can do is kind of look ahead a little bit because let me pull up the Redskins schedule because the Redskins schedule gets really, really tough, and it's basically if the Eagles do make the playoffs, it's going to come down to that 6 seed because the Giants are going to go 8-3. They play the Browns this week, and they don't play anybody. So I think they're pretty safe of getting the potential 5 seed. So that leaves only 1 spot left. So you look at the Redskins schedule; they are 6-3-1 right now. At Dallas tomorrow, at Arizona next week, at Philadelphia, at home against the Panthers. The Panthers are playing better football. At Chicago, that should be a win. And then they close the regular season at home against New York. So these next 3 games for Washington, I think they could lose all of
them. Well, so it's Dallas, Arizona, and the Eagles. Okay,
all on the road.
All on the road. That's a tough stretch.
Yes,
that's definitely a tough stretch. And then in the mix, I think we're tied with the Bucs, and the Vikings have a game on us, but we beat them. So it's the Vikings and Lions there, 6-4, but we lost to the Lions head-to-head. So either the Lions or Vikings. Hopefully we put the Packers out of their misery. But we'll be between the Lions and the Vikings. They'll both have 6 wins right now, and they'll be competing for that 6th spot as well. So luckily we have the head-to-head match with the Vikings. If the Lions somehow end up winning that division, I don't know what the Lions' schedule looks like, but
their schedule gets brutal coming up, I think, too.
They're playing the Vikings tomorrow early. So that's a big game. That's going to put one of them at 5 losses. Obviously we're going to be battling for that 6th spot. Like you said, the Giants got a cakewalk. So, we just got to literally win 5 out of the last 6 games. If we lose 2, we're done.
Yeah, if they lose Monday night, season's over. There's no doubt in my mind. I think Arizona, because they're 4-5-1, so they got to win out. I'm not worried about anybody in the NFC South. I think Detroit's going to fall off. If Green Bay loses, they're done. So I think it really comes down to these three NFC East teams are going to fight for the last 2 spots. I think that's what's going to happen. Detroit, let's see. Let me pull up the Giants' schedule. All right, so the Giants play Cleveland this week at Cleveland. I mean, it gets a little bit tough for them. At Pittsburgh, Dallas at home, Lions at home, at Philly, at Washington. So actually it does get a little bit tougher after. But they would be 8-3, and they would still, if they lose 3 games, they'd still be good. So even if they lose this week, they can still go 2-3 and finish 10-6. So lucky fuckers.
Yeah, that's really annoying. I don't. The Lions don't scare me. Vikings don't scare me. Yeah. You think the Vikings will end up winning the?
I think so. I think so. I'll pull up their schedule too. Let me see. I think Minnesota is going to win tomorrow.
But it's crazy. Like if we beat Green Bay, then and Arizona does not win out. Those are two teams with a really good pedigree that won't make the playoffs. Green Bay and Arizona.
Yeah.
It's funny every year. What is it? At least two teams out of the 12 teams that make the playoffs in the whole league, 6-6 in each conference. I think at least two every year do not make the playoffs next year, and there's two other teams that didn't make the playoffs that jump in, and that trend has been ongoing for I think close to a decade now.
Yeah.
So that it's funny now that Green Bay falls out of it, Cardinals fall out of it. I mean, look at the Panthers; they're 4-6, right?
Yeah, they pretty much got to win out.
They have to win out, close to it. So depends what the Falcons do in that division. Yeah, it's interesting. There's going to be a big change for teams that made the playoffs last year that'll miss this year. It's interesting. I love that stat. I think it's pretty cool.
All right, here's Minnesota at Detroit, Cowboys at home next week. At Jacksonville, Colts at home, Packers on the road, Bears at home. So you would think between the Jaguars, the Colts, the Bears, they could win those three games possibly. Maybe the Colts, maybe not. Colts are like always hot and cold. Who the hell knows? But I think they should be able to get to 10-6. Maybe not though. Maybe not. But I think they'll go 10-6, and that'll win them the NFC North.
Yeah, I can see that with those games. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a tight race, man. Like I said, we had that friggin' Lions game.
That Lions game is gonna bite us in the fucking ass.
I knew it. That was our first loss too. That's gonna be the one.
Yep.
Our first loss, man. Ryan Matthews. We should have just fallen on the ball on third down and just punted. Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, that motherfucker. He actually has been playing well the last couple of weeks, which is funny. But it looks like he's not going to play. All right, I guess we'll do final thoughts. Even though this show will be a little bit shorter, but that's okay.
Final thoughts. I'm excited for tomorrow. There's a lot to be thankful for. Everybody, spend time with your family, eat, drink, watch football, and it's my favorite holiday every year. I just love it. Just drink and eat all day and watch football. It's great, and it pains me, but we'll have to actually be rooting for the Cowboys to beat the Redskins. Because we rather have. I mean, as much as it pains me, it's better for the Eagles to have the Cowboys just run away with the division. Make that Week 17 game against them mean nothing for them if they lock up the number 1 seed. And obviously, we're competing with the Redskins for the number 6 spot. So, another loss.
Oh, fuck Dallas. You know who we never talked about today, and I just realized this? We never talked about Carson Wentz, which is just hilarious.
Ginger Jesus.
Right. Yeah, it's all right. We don't need to talk about it. But I think, I mean, I gave my thoughts on Carson Wentz on EDP, the show with EDP. I think Philadelphia is insecure and afraid to admit that there's been some mechanical flaws with him over recent weeks. They like to give him excuses, and it's whatever. I think people are afraid to admit that Dak Prescott's playing better than him right now, and I hate saying it, but Carson Wentz is the better quarterback, but Dak is playing better right now, and I'll admit it.
I know, man. They started off the first month of the season. They were pretty even. I would say Carson was playing a little better, and now over the past 5 weeks, I mean Carson, he's shown more rookie mistakes, and Dak is obviously his great offensive line, great running back, much 10 times better receivers.
Yeah.
So he's in a better situation, but he's making the best of it. He's putting up numbers, man. He's efficiently running that offense. He's, extending plays with his feet. And he's doing everything right, as much of it as it hurts to say. It's true.
Hey, he's been playing real well in the fourth quarter. You got to give it to him. He's killing it in the second half, because even last week he struggled against Baltimore in the first quarter and a half. Baltimore was dialing up some blitzes against him. He wasn't setting his feet. He was wide of his targets. He was throwing behind a little bit. And a problem with Carson Wentz over recent weeks. I know people like giving the excuses that the Eagles don't have any weapons, but it's not even about that all the time. The problem I'm seeing, that shit. It has to do with perceiving pressure that isn't there. That's been a problem. He's not setting his feet in the pocket. That's forcing him to overstride. That's forcing him to throw the ball high, ball sailing. Last week we saw a couple low balls. He's also locking onto his target too much. He's not going through his progressions as he should be, as he was earlier on the year. So he's locking on the one target. This is something Doug Peterson even said. So it's I'm not concerned at all. But he's like I said in the EDP show, he's putting up the same numbers that Russell Wilson did his rookie season. So that's pretty fucking incredible. But yeah, he's been not playing as well as he did earlier in the year, and it's okay to say that. It's fine. We don't have to be insecure about it. We got ourselves a fucking franchise quarterback, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean not many rookies go into their rookie season and are Ben Roethlisberger or Russell Wilson, and make these big Andrew Luck and make these playoff runs. It's his rookie season. We've seen great things. We've seen mistakes. It's fine. I mean, we know he's got all the skills. He's got everything we look for in a franchise quarterback, and he's having a rookie season. You got to get these lumps. This is what you learn from. He's a genius. He's the smartest kid. This is the most losses he's ever had in a season in his whole life.
Might be the most losses he's. He might have more losses this season than he had his whole career.
Yeah. So I mean, every game's a learning experience for him. This kid is funny because Carson, in January of this year, he was in the 1AA championship against Jacksonville State. Okay, and you're asking him 10 months later to go to Seattle against one of the best defenses in the NFL over the past 5 years. And this is a kid that was just coming off an injury and playing the championship game 10 months ago in 1AA. You're asking him to go, he's going to make some mistakes. Come on. I mean, yeah, you can't kill him for that. It's such a short time. So much has happened to him in the past. Not even a full calendar year. So, yeah, I'm not worried. He's going to get better every year, and I still love the kid.
Yeah. It's just funny. People are just giving him excuses galore. He's getting a free pass, and I don't think it should be that way. I think he deserves some blame too, and it's okay to blame him. It's all right. Everybody's to blame. Fuck, man. Shit. I was gonna say something I forgot. Fuck. Sucks. I had some fire ready to go. Yeah, I can't think of it. All right, my final thought. Temple football, baby. Playing for a chance to go to the American Athletic Conference title game. All they got to do is beat East Carolina. They have not allowed a point in over 2 games. Temple's playing really well.
Baby.
Yep, Temple tough. I'm still trying to figure out what I wanted to say about Wentz. I forget. Sucks. Whatever. I had some fire ready to go. Oh, well. All right, that's about it. Everybody enjoy their Thanksgiving. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm going to be drinking some pumpkin beer. I'm going to be fucking stuffing my face with turkey legs and stuffing and pumpkin pie. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Yummy, yummy, yumskis. Sex in my mouth. Hashtags. Jeremy Burton, I'm Adrian Fedke. We are out. Peace.
Later.